Forgive Me Father is a Lovecraftian theme boomer shooter game. I was initially drawn to this game because of its unique art style. At first, I thought the gameplay would be similar to boomer shooter games like Dusk, Ultra Kill, or a modern version of Doom, which featured varied movement mechanics where we can jump and dash with fast-paced movement. However, after trying it out, the movement in Forgive Me Father feels more similar to old-school shooters like the original Doom, Duke Nukem, etc. That's why, in my personal opinion, Forgive Me Father's gameplay seems to require a more tactical approach. It feels incredibly difficult if you try to charge through the hordes of enemy you will face. This makes the game feel exciting and quite intense, even on a normal difficulty. Although, to be honest, based on my playthrough, the further you progress, the more it starts to feel a bit boring and monotonous, especially regarding enemy variety. Oh, by the way, I won't be discussing the story here, because honestly, I don't even really understand what's going on in the story. Let me start by discussing the overall gameplay of Forgive Me Father. Forgive Me Father offers us two playable characters. Both characters have their own skills that can be adjusted to suit our playstyle. The first one is a priest, with skills that support a more defensive playstyle, such as healing, invincibility, and unlimited ammo for a few seconds. The other one is a journalist, with skills that support a more aggressive playstyle, such as slowing down time, a self-explode, quote-unquote, to blow up enemies, and healing every time we damage an enemy. I finished the game using the journalist and only tried the priest afterward. From what I observe, there's no difference in the story regardless of which character you choose. Though I could be wrong, so please correct me if I'm mistaken. Regardless of which character we use, the weapons are the same. There's a knife, pistol or revolver, shotgun, SMG, Thompson, energy gun, grenade launcher, and crossbow. Each of these weapons can be obtained throughout the story's progression. The game also provides a skill tree, used to upgrade character skills, weapons, and increase HP or armor. From what I noticed, each weapon has two upgrade paths. For example, the knife can be upgraded to increase its damage or transform into a throwing knife. The Thompson can be upgraded to increase its rate of fire or converted into a laser gun. Because of this, each weapon upgrade can be tailored to your own playstyle. Oh yeah, and there's also a passive skill called Madness. The Madness bar fills up as we continuously shoot or hit enemies. If we stop for a brief moment, the bar resets back to zero. The effect of Madness is that the higher it is, the more damage we deal to enemies, and the enemies deal less damage to us. There's also a visual indicator. There's also a visual indicator for Madness. The higher the effect, the more characters' vision turns monochrome. This game has two game modes. The first one is story mode and the second is endless mode. Story, as I've already explained, is where we progress through the narrative, collecting skills and weapons until we finish the game. Endless mode, as the name suggests, throws us into waves of enemies that never end. When starting endless mode, we're given a choice of difficulty, character, and area. There's also a leaderboard for each area. The problem is that, from my personal experience, endless mode also functions like a survival mode. Throughout my attempts, I couldn't find any healing items and ammo was incredibly hard to come by. Because of that, I personally usually end up dying by wave 4. Though, it could just be that I'm really bad at it. Feel free to share your thought if you've played the game and tried the endless mode. Also, I'm not sure if this counts as its own game mode, but Forgive Me Father also offers a new Game Plus feature, which unlocks after completing the story. When starting the new Game Plus, we're given option to choose character, skills, quality of life settings, and cheats. We're given the freedom to swap skill in New Game Plus, meaning we can use journalist exclusive skills on the priest and vice versa. As for the cheats, we're free to reduce enemy damage or increase it if we want a harder challenge. We can even choose to go invisible. Weapon ammo pickups can be set to drop double or up to triple the amount, or made completely unlimited if desired. All skills can also be set to be used continuously without any cooldown. Earlier, I mentioned that the enemy variety feel monotonous. Don't get me wrong though, I do enjoy some of the enemies and the interactions we can have with them. For example, there's an enemy that holds a head in its hand. When we headshot its main head, it automatically replaces it with a new one. There's also an enemy that, when its lower body is destroyed, will have its upper body crawl after us. These types of enemies are introduced early on as we progress. However, the further we get into the story, the more the variety starts to feel quite monotonous. The reason I say this because, from what I observe, the newer enemies have fairly similar attack patterns and movesets. There's an enemy that moves slowly, but throws bomb at us. There's an aggressive enemy that also throws explosive projectiles at us. There's one enemy that shoots regular projectiles. There's one that shoots projectiles in burst fire mode. There's one that shoots homing projectiles. There's also one that shoots buckshot style projectiles. There's a flying enemy that shoots at us. And there's also a flying enemy that shoots and then upon death will kamikaze into us. Even though it might seem like a minor complaint, I personally find it quite annoying. Not just because the variety isn't growing meaningfully, but also because in a single level, the sheer number of enemies often feel excessive to me. It also makes playing tactically a lot more difficult. I know it probably sounds like a skill issue on my end, but regardless, for those of you who've already finished the game, what do you guys think?